first off, if you guys are new here, if you guys have never watched my show before, I talk about South Asian news. I'm the Indian Hasanabi. I'm the Tamil Hasanabi. I'm talking about South Asian news. When can I watch the next stream? Next week. I stream on weekends only. Again, I stream on weekends. I would love to stream every day. Streaming doesn't pay the bills. Now, Sheikh Hasina has held on to power since basically 2008. Is she going to stay in power? The election is going to be remotely free and fair, by the way. No, they're not going to be remotely free and fair, by the way. They are not. Seriously, how are the cops same everywhere? That's because it doesn't matter what country you go to. The job of the police is to protect the levers of power. Whether it is to protect capital, it is to protect hierarchy, it is to protect the main like the majority or the oppressor ethnic group. That's the job of the cops. It's to protect the status quo and prevent things from changing. It doesn't matter where you are. If you go to Sri Lanka, for example, you'll notice that oftentimes cops don't arrest the monks. Cops don't ever arrest monks. And the reason cops don't arrest monks is they are the ones that ultimately, they're the ones that ceremonially bestow power onto politicians. Yeah, their job is to protect the government. Like, police are violent forms of HR. Their job is to protect the levers of power. It's not to protect you. Hasina model of democracy in Bangladesh. Police and regime goons are marching to attack opposition protesters in Dhaka. So Bangladesh would need a revolution for a change in power at this point. Not in the sense of you seize power and refuse to give it up. That's a coup. But I don't think another party taking power and refusing to give it up is the solution, because that's been the problem the entire time. Changing the form of government for the people. Yeah, devolution of power, I agree. After suppressing and killing garment workers by the police force, Sheikh Hasina is now using Bangladesh's border force, BGB, to assault and suppress the workers. Those who are supposed to perform duties at the vulnerable border are now torturing the workers on the city streets. So as someone who doesn't know the current issues in Bangladesh, what are the current issues that people are protesting for? Okay, so basically there are two main things, right? One, you have garment factory workers. Yeah, they literally ran out of police with the military rolls in. No, so Sarnix, basically what's happening is Bangladesh, I think everyone understands this, is basically the world's textile factory. They basically had enough. The garment factory workers basically said, fuck you, we've had enough, and we're going to fight back. They're demanding livable wages. They're demanding better wages. And just like the fucking Pinkertons in the US government, the Bangladesh government is literally sending the police, and now they're sending in the border guards to suppress the workers. Yeah, they're not even asking for any major changes. They just want living wages. Yeah, Bangladesh is the capital of sweatshops in South Asia. Full prisons and false charges. Bangladesh opposition faces pre-election crackdown. Sheikh Hasina and her Awami League party are seeking a fourth consecutive term and are accused of harassing the rival BNP party. Now, listen, the BNP party are also ghouls of the highest order. In Bangladesh, there's no room left in the prisons. In the past 2 weeks alone, almost 10,000 opposition leaders, supporters, and activists have been arrested after protests broke out against the ruling government led by the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Thousands of other political prisoners have already been inside these cells for months, facing many dozens, perhaps hundreds of criminal charges. Rajshahi General Jail has a capacity of nearly 4,000 prisoners. It now holds more than 13,600. As Bangladesh heads to elections in January, with Hasina and Awami League and her Awami League party seeking a fourth consecutive term in office, the authorities have overseen a ruthless crackdown on the main opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party. Few believe that the election will be free, fair, or remotely democratic. The BNP have stated that as long as Hasina is charged, Hasina is in charge, they will not even participate. Okay, so again, the BNP, they're not great either. They also suck. They're also responsible for the shitty factory conditions, garment factory conditions. They're also not great. Right? They haven't done anything about this either. Bro, they all suck? Yeah, they all suck. But that doesn't mean like locking up the BNP is good. That does not mean locking up the fucking BNP is good. While the harassment of the opposition has been going on for months, a BNP rally held in Dhaka, the capital, on 28th October to demand Hasina's resignation, prompted the government crackdown to intensify further. In the days leading up to the rally, hundreds of BNP leaders were detained. On the day, as hundreds of thousands of supporters took to the streets, activists from Hasina's Awami League, accompanied by police, were seen attacking the rallies, armed with sticks, iron rods, machetes, and other weapons. At least 3 people died in the violence, including a BNP activist, police officer, and journalist. Ali Riaz, professor of political science at Illinois State University, said that the violence appeared premeditated by the authorities as a means to crack down on the BNP. The response of the police, which triggered the violence, which seemed to be planned well ahead of the rally, he said. Internet services were blocked, not only to disrupt communication among the activists, but also to prevent transmission of the police actions. In the aftermath, BNP leaders and rank and file members say they have been subjected to a relentless witch hunt to prevent them from campaigning against Hasina's government. Yes, this is literally a crackdown on the freedom of assembly. Like, yes, this is an obvious dictatorial crackdown on another political party. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know much about Bangladesh politics, except one is the daughter of the founding father of Bangladesh, so people support her, and this is just the other one. And the one on the other side is just with big hair. Yes, the current prime minister is the daughter of the founding father. That's Sheikh Hasina. Khaleda Zia is the other one. She is the wife of Ziaur Rahman. It's literally just 2 gangs. The one gang has now all the power. Like the current ruling gang has the power of the army. Among the thousands who have been arrested was one of the BNP's most senior leaders, Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir. Speaking to the Guardian hours before he was detained on 29th October, he had expressed his fears of being picked up on false charges. We have seen countless incidents where our activists were arrested on trumped-up charges, and the police and judiciary seem to be working together with the Awami League to silence us, said Alamgir, who has more than 100 cases against him. It is clear that the government's goal is to put all of our leaders behind bars and hold a one-sided election. Yes, obviously. A few BNP leaders have evaded arrest are now in hiding. Habibun Nabi Khan Sohail, BNP's Joint Secretary General, has more than 450 cases filed against him and is among 170 leaders accused of violence and murder after the 28th October protests. For the past week, he has gone underground. From an undisclosed location, Sohail described how the past few months of his life have been defined by endless politically motivated cases being filed against him, forcing him in and out of the more than 450 cases against him. Yes, the guy who did a military coup, by the way. Lamau, I always say to my dad, what's going to happen when she drops Dej? Edge, he just grills me down. Yeah, she's going to have a cult of personality around her. Since June, I've had to present myself in different courts from morning to evening in connection with the hearings of 5 to 7 cases every day, he said. Many of my senior party colleagues are attending hearings and spending long hours in court every day. Others, such as Azizur Rahman Muchabir, 41, a mid-level BNP leader, are stuck in a Kafka-esque cycle of arrest and release. He was first arrested on 8th December 2022 after violence broke out at a rally. He was charged with violent activities and granted bail in February, but was rearrested by police outside the prison gates. He was released on bail again in March, and again was immediately released, a cycle that continued again in April, and he is now back in jail facing 70 different charges. If I'm not wrong, her father was like a socialist. He was about the people, right? No, Mujib also sucked. He was socialist because the word socialism was popping off in the region. That's the reason. It's very cool to be like, oh, I'm a socialist. No, but even Bangabandhu had his issues because, Mujib had threatened to settle thousands of Bengalis in the CHT region if the Jummas didn't accept his verdict. Yeah, so Mujib was a piece of shit. Like, he was also a piece of shit to the people of the Chittagong Hill Tracts. He literally threatened settler colonialism. Like, yes, he's the father of Bangladesh, and he is hailed as a hero for fighting against the genocide in Pakistan, but then threatened to do settler colonialism in CHT in Chittagong. Since Hasina was first elected in 2008, she has been credited for overseeing an economic revival in Bangladesh that has seen the country rise to become one of the strongest economies in South Asia. But her 4 terms in office have also been defined by democratic backsliding and increasingly authoritarian measures against dissent or any form of. According to the Office of the BNP, since 2009, more than 138,000 cases have been filed against more than 5 million leaders, activists, and supporters of the BNP in its member organizations. Muhammad Ashrafuzzaman of the Capital Punishment Justice Project, who has been documenting human rights abuses in Bangladesh for over a decade, said that gross human rights violations had been systematically used against the opposition, including enforced disappearances, extrajudicial killings, maiming, torture, ill treatment, and massive arbitrary detention of opposition activists in fake criminal cases to crush the opposition whenever the elections ensued in Bangladesh. The previous election in 2018 was marred with allegations of opposition harassment and widespread vote rigging, and was widely decried as non democratic. Most assume that similar scenes will unfold in January. The international community has been attempting to step in and pressure Hasina into holding free and fair elections. This week, the British High Commissioner met BNP leaders to call to eschew violence and hold free, fair, and participatory elections. The U.S. Recently imposed visa restrictions on unnamed government officials for undermining the election process, and last month, the U.S. ambassador to Bangladesh called for Hasina to have a dialogue with the BNP. Hasina hit back, accusing the U.S. administration of hypocrisy. Is Biden having a dialogue with Trump? The day they have a dialogue, I will have a dialogue with the opposition. Analysts say that Hasina's government now has the judiciary and police fully under its control and has weaponized them in her fight against the opposition. This week, a video clip captured police officers patrolling a group of armed Awami activists chanting, "Capture BNP people one by one and for them all." The government and police deny that the mass arrests of the BNP members are connected to the forthcoming elections. These criminal cases have no connection with politics, said the Law and Justice Minister Anisul Haq. Senior Awami League leadership figures did not respond to requests for comment from The Guardian. Mohammed Farouk Hussein, spokesperson of Dhaka Metropolitan Police, said that they had filed cases only after it was found that they have been involved in criminal activities, and said that the arrests were of those responsible for the killing and injuring of police officers on the 28th October rally. Yet Mubashir Hassan, a political activist, said that Hasina's oppressive methods were only fueling momentum behind the BNP, which is experiencing a groundswell of grassroots support in the wake of faltering economy and soaring inflation, as well as political activists, laborers, and poor workers turned out in droves at the 28th October rally. The BNP rallies have successfully tapped into the pulse of the common people. The government's heavy-handed crackdown appears to be a calculated and moved aimed at dissuading BNP's burgeoning momentum from evolving into a full-blown mass movement against the existing administration.